Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Ignited Tea with me, Rhonda, your ignited and fiery life and self care coach. Happy Tuesday. Lipstick stain. Well, I hope everyone is having a wonderful Tuesday. Once again, I'm excited to be here. And, I'm just checking that everything is good. What I do before we get started is I check on my phone to make sure that when people join, they can actually hear me because the worst is going on to something and not hearing or having audio problems. So far, we've been good, but I want to check one more time and then we will get started. All right, so let's just go into here. So if you're joining, as I am checking our audio and making sure all our systems are good, feel free to say hello, get yourself settled, have a sip of your tea, and we will get started in a moment. So just be 2 seconds, you guys. Okay. I look down at my screen because that's where I can see if people joined and how everything's going there. All right. We are live. So let's get started. So, again, thank you so much for being here. We have a really good topic today. This is a topic I think is necessary to talk about because so many of us have these big ideas, right? Big goals, big things we want to do. But somehow we talk ourselves out of doing it. All the way from going to the gym, I'm going to the gym, and you can even see in social media where the process begins, and then all of a sudden you don't see anything about it anymore. Or I'm going to do this big event, I'm going to have this major happening, and then nothing happens. And I know personally, being in the self-care coaching and life coaching space, big ideas, listen, they come a dime a dozen. Like, everyone has a big idea. I'm going to do this thing, I'm going to write this book. I know some of the most brilliant people who have the most brilliant big ideas, but when it comes time to execute, it's like crickets. Well, I'm changing direction, I'm doing something different. And so the question really becomes, what happens to our big idea? Like, why didn't we execute it? So I just thought that was something really good for us to talk about. Still very early in this new year. We're still in January with a couple days to go. It's January 29th if you're watching this live. If you're watching the replay, who knows when it is. But at this moment, it's very early in the new year. So you still have an opportunity to start to put some things in motion. But what I don't want to see you do is have big goals, big ideas, and just never see them happen. The first thing you need to know about your big idea is, if you have that big idea, like, that thing was sent to you. I like to think of my big ideas as my divine assignment. So when I was sitting in the cubicle thinking, I really want to start a company called A Life Ignited. And that's how it started. I was sitting in a cubicle working for software companies. I worked for software and technology and financial software companies my entire professional career, which was over 21 years. And there were always pockets, no matter where I worked, there were pockets of time. I can go as far back as in my internship back in 1996. Okay, don't try to do the math. But I can think back to then, and I can remember being like, I always want to train, and I've always wanted to speak, and I've always wanted to ignite lives and be part of people's lives. But it seemed like such a big idea given where I was in my life. Like, yeah, right. Okay. But that thought always came back to me like, no, no, you need to be training. You need to be speaking. You need to be coaching, right? But then it's like, no, that's impossible. I've got bills. And how much do trainers and speakers make? Then I found out about Tony Robbins, and I was like, well, wait a minute. Wait, let me rethink that, right? But the idea always came back to me, like it never left. And so the first thing you need to understand is that If you have an idea, there's someone watching live now who always talks about wanting to support older people, senior citizens, and fitness, right? You know who you are because you're watching live. And that thought comes up and up and up again. How do I know? Because I hear her talk about it over and over and over again. And it's not that the conversation happens every day, but the conversation happens at least once a year, maybe two, three times a year over the course of like the last decade. I see that as divine assignment, right? Sometimes we say we're listening and we're searching, and sometimes we know exactly what we should do because we can't shake the feeling. It's like, no, I'm focused on this thing. No, but you really should be helping seniors. No, no, I'm over here. I want to do this over here. No, you should be helping seniors. And that's why you can't shake it, because that big idea was sent directly to you. It wasn't sent to me. It wasn't sent to your friend. It wasn't sent to someone else watching. It was sent to you. So that's the first thing about big ideas. If it's an idea that you can't shake and it always comes back to you and it's always in your heart, and you have thoughts, like real thoughts, you see yourself in it and doing it, understand that that message was sent to you, and not just anybody can handle that assignment. It's kind of like when you get a mortgage. You can't just say, I don't want to pay this mortgage anymore, and hand it to your best friend, right? No, it was assigned to you. There's a whole process for getting a mortgage to someone else, but that was for you. You can't just give it to someone. So this is the same thing. So I think it's important that when you have a big idea and you know that, man, I'd be really good at this, you have to act on it because it's been sent to you, and it's been sent to you for you in some sort of purpose. So, what we're talking about here really is those big goals and big dreams and big ideas you have, how you need to manifest those dreams and not just continually let them fall off by the wayside. And I'm not going to do that. And we're going to talk about the reasons why a lot of times we don't act on our big dreams. Now, what I want you to start thinking about now is, what is the big idea you've had that we're going to talk about why you talked yourself out of it. But what's a big idea you had that you never acted on because, but it keeps coming back to you. You know what it is, right? I wanted to. I always thought I should. You know what I would like to do? What's that thing? Now, since we're thinking about it, I can tell you today I had a meeting at my son's high school because I'm that mom. I'm going to show up and, get all into the process, right? But we should as parents, right? It's partnership, right? It's not the school's job to work alone, and it's not healthy for us to work alone, but it's in partnership, right? So while I was there, I was talking to them about having a resource for parents that lets you know what programs and summer programs are available to students. And I was like, this would be such a great resource. And as I was leaving, I'm like, I could make this happen. And then immediately, what happens when we have that big thought? But I don't know. That's a lot of time and effort. I don't know. Like, do I really want to do it? But then I thought, if this is a good resource for me, it's going to be a resource to so many other people. And then I stopped thinking about all the no buts, and I went further with that thought about who I'm going to serve, right? And how awesome this is going to be for them. And man, like, imagine being able to give a resource to people that they can all use. And it was in that moment that I became very excited, and I stepped up in courage and in faith, and I actually sent an email to the school and said, listen, here's a sample of what that resource would look like. And if you're interested, I'd love to take the lead on this in partnership with you to do this for free in a volunteer capacity to offer this to your community. So that's what I'm talking about. A big idea where, wow, that'd be awesome. This is so great, right? But that thought was given to me. So if I don't execute on it, no one else gets the benefit of the resource. And I know how powerful this tool would be for parents. So as you have big ideas, I want you to think about what happens when you don't take that massive action, right? And not just for other people, but for you. When you know there's something big you need to do, uh, and then you don't act on it, right? What happens for you when you don't take that big leap of faith and you hire the coach, you hire the nutritionist, you hire the trainer, right? Well, I'm going to talk myself out. Well, you didn't just talk yourself out of the trainer. You didn't just talk yourself out of the coach. You didn't just talk yourself out of the chef or Bible study or being in that women's group to learn and grow. You talked yourself out of your divine assignment. So, what we're really talking about here is walking in purpose, being intentional, and stepping up in courage and in faith so that you can fulfill that very thing you were called to do, not just for yourself, but for the impact that it's going to have on everyone around you. Whether it's you getting healthy and that being impactful to your family, because now mom's not so tired, dad's not so cranky, dad feels better, he can walk longer, to wow, if I step up at work and I take the lead on this project, right? This will make my team stand out. This will make our days more productive. There'll be great days because this project's kind of cool and fun and innovative, right? So it's all these ways you can step up. But what we're talking about here is big ideas and taking massive action so that you can manifest more of what you desire in your life. Okay. So, what I want to talk about first is why we don't take the action. So, first, I want you to think about there's a big difference between big idea, right? This is so awesome. Oh, this resource would be great. Girl, I'm going to the gym. I'm going to step it up. I'm going to do this new project. I'm going to write the book. I'm going to do all these things. Right? Because guess what? The big idea, the visual, if you close your eyes and just think of the big idea, oh, it's fun, it's sexy, that is so great, right? If you think about it now, it'll bring a smile to your face, right? Oh, this would be so awesome, or a smile to your heart because you're thinking about, wow, and then this would be happening, and I would be doing this, and other people would be working better, greater, bigger, and bolder because of this, right? So that's all exciting. Yes. Now there's the massive action. There is nothing sexy or exciting about massive action at first glance, right? There's nothing sexy about it. You're kind of like, oh, but I got to do this. I got to commit to that. Well, then this has to happen. And then you begin to think of all the ways that hard work needs to show up, right? Now you don't want to do it. But I don't want you to focus on the hard work. Like I mentioned earlier, I want you to focus on who you're serving, and what the end goal ultimately is. How you can show up in a space through the massive action you take and just bless the lives of other people, expand your territory, heal yourself, love on yourself more, and just be extraordinary in the space you're in, right? But not sitting back scared to take the action. Okay? So, why, other than it not being sexy, right? Why do we not take massive action? What really prevents us? And then there are times, I'm going to lead into my first point here. There are times that we were gung ho. We were like, ooh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start this project, right? And then you call up your friend or you see somebody at work and you say, yeah, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to start this new process and this is what it's going to do. And what's the first thing that person does? Well, how are you going to do this part? Oh, well, that means you're going to have to stay late. Oh, well, you're going to have to work with so and so. Well, you're going to have to get these documents, right? And when you start thinking about all the things that they're saying, you immediately don't want to do it anymore. So, my first point is to stop sharing your big ideas with everybody. First I said small minded people, them too. But I'm just going to say you can't share your big ideas with everybody. You've got to know who you can share your big ideas with. I heard someone once talk about a turtle and a giraffe, both beautiful animals, both intelligent, serve different purposes, right? So I'm going to say one isn't more, a grand than the other. Well, in terms of stature, one is, right? But they're both beautiful animals. But if a giraffe and a turtle were to stand at a fence, the turtle may say, oh my gosh, like the possibility, look how amazing. this view is just phenomenal, right? And so they have all this energy and love and expectation, and they see the possibilities for so many amazing things to happen. And the turtle can only see a few rocks, some dirt, and some dust, right? He has the same horizon, he just can't see it. So to him, oh no, there's nothing out there. I don't know what you're talking about. I can't see that, right? That's my turtle voice. So the turtle's perspective is very different from the giraffe. And so as you are thinking about what you want to do and what you want to accomplish, you have to recognize, in my sharing my big vision, my big ideas, my big next level with a turtle, right? And turtle doesn't mean to, disqualify people, but not everybody can see the big picture. Not everyone can see the big vision from where they are in the world. If I'm struggling just to pay my bills and you're telling me how you're going to start this new venture, or you're going to start this new company and you're going to make all this money and have all this success, right? And I'm just down here struggling and surviving, not even, having it in my mind or my heart to think big, I may not be the right person to tell. And I'm probably going to address you from where I am in my heart at the time. So you just need to be very careful with who you're sharing your ideas with. And unfortunately, sometimes you don't know who that is and who that is not until after you share it. And you're like, oh, well, why'd I share it with them? I can remember having a mentor who was a terrible mentor, wonderful person, terrible mentor. And I remember telling her when I first started at Life Ignited that I was going to have a lot of online products and a lot of my services would be digital. And man, did she go in. She's like, well, that can't work. And well, what do you mean? And I was just kind of like, thank God I was like firmly rooted in what my divine assignment is. And I was not looking for anyone to qualify or validate it. Because if I was, and I wasn't at the point where I was confident, man, this woman would have crushed me. She would have, listen, she would have had me crawling out that restaurant, still working in the cubicle somewhere in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. Okay. But we have to know who we can share our big ideas with. And sometimes when you share your big idea, you have a way of allowing other people who they're fine where they are. They're not trying to do big things. They're like, listen, I'm just good where I am. And that's fine. But when you're sharing your ideas, you can't let their, lack of wanting to be big and grand keep you from doing something big and grand. So that's the first thing. Don't let people talk you out of where you want to be because they didn't get it or they didn't see it, right? If you're not into big action and big life and big purpose and big priorities and taking massive steps, then guess what? Anything you tell me that sounds like a lot of work, I'm going to, oh no, oh my God, right? So what you want to do is share your big ideas with people who are doing big things, who are striving for big things. And sometimes a big thing doesn't mean they're making millions of dollars and they've got a big house and all this grand stuff. It means that they're taking steps of purpose in their lives. And then when you talk about your purpose, they'll get it. They'll encourage you. They'll celebrate and inspire you and motivate you and support you because they're doing the same thing. They're taking big steps and big leaps of faith. Okay. So number one, stop sharing your big dreams and your big ideas with everybody. And if you thought it was safe to share with someone and you share and they annihilate your idea, it's okay. But be firmly rooted in your divine assignment. We'll go back to the beginning here where we talked about don't get stuck into the action part, right? The action is already like, oh, it's going to be a lot of work. So don't allow someone to tell you more about how the action is going to be so difficult and hard and challenging. And then you stop and you don't move on because of what they said and your fears on top of that. Yeah, you know what? It is going to be a lot of work. But I'm so excited that I get to serve, that I get to impact, that I get to reach, that I get to inspire, that I get to motivate. When I do this, so many lives will be changed and transformed. And I'm excited about that part. That's the part I'm working towards. Yeah, the work, it's going to be tough, but I'm more excited about the end product, the end result, and all the people who get to be better because of me, because of my diligence, because of my faithfulness. Okay? That's where we're focused. The second thing is that you have to believe that you can actually achieve this big thing. And this kind of goes back into, when people who haven't had success in something or they're miserable, they're going to try to talk you out of your big, bold idea, your big, bold next step, your big, bold, massive action. That's why you have to believe that it is in you to accomplish this thing. I go back to talking about the mentor. I mean, she was just like, that doesn't work. But I was firmly and still am firmly rooted in the fact that I am just scratching the surface to what I'm going to accomplish in my business for people, for the business, for the community, and for the world. I have to know that for myself. And so many of us, the reason we share our big ideas because we're looking for validation from someone else. We're looking for someone else to say, oh, girl, you can do that. Yeah, you go. And the minute someone doesn't validate us, then it's like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm probably not good. I'm not going to be good. I'm not going to know what to do anyway. Right? You also have to believe that you may not know every step of the way, but know that what you do to prepare for step one will prepare you for step two. At step one, you're not going to be prepared for step 17. So if you look now and say, oh, well, at some point I need to do this step 17, I have no idea, right? And then you get stuck in everything 17 and up, yeah, you're never going to execute. What you need to be doing now is just worrying about your next best move with what you have, where you are, who you know, how much money you have, how much time you can invest, your resources, what's in you at this moment. That is it. I guarantee you that when you get to step 17, you will know what to do next. From writing my book to putting together these online products. And let me tell you, it's not just the online course, right? I can do a course, I can speak in a microphone, but the back end technology and integrations that have to happen to have a successful system run. Woo! Massive action, hard work, nothing sexy about it. Okay. Making money while you sleep. Oh, yeah, that sounds good. The technology, the integrations, and all the behind the scenes, nothing sexy about it, right? And there was a point where I did not know what to do. I didn't know what payment portal to use. I didn't know what CRM would work in connection with my payment portal, that worked in connection with my lead page, that connected all the dots for everything to run smoothly. But what I did was I was just diligent where I was. And then I finished that step. And then I went to the next step. And at every step, I got more clues about what needed to happen. So by the time I got to where I needed to put everything together for the technology pieces, I knew what I needed to know. And I was able to successfully make those things happen. Okay. So you need to have that same concept as you're moving forward and you're thinking about, okay, all these things I have to do. I don't think I have it in me. I don't know enough. I don't know the right people. I don't even know how that works. That's okay. By the time you get to that point, if you're walking in purpose, if you're walking in divine assignment, you will have exactly what you need when you get there. You have to believe that for yourself, though. You have to know that I'm on divine assignment and what I need will be given to me at the very moment that I need it, and sometimes not a second before. And you have to believe that when you have no idea, know what's going on. Interestingly enough, it took me a minute to figure out how to stream on YouTube. I wanted to do these last year this time. And I got on YouTube and I couldn't figure out what was I missing, that when I hit live, nothing was happening. My encoder was screwed up, right? All tech talk. And I'm like, what is going on? When I look back, I realized that the reason that wasn't working for me, I believe it was divine intervention because I wasn't quite confident enough to go on and do these lives like this. But what it forced me to do, though, was then go and try to understand what am I missing and brush up on my confidence and my ability to show up like this, raw, live, in person, no script, and do this. So I rethought my plan And now here we are, 12 months later. I'm live. I know exactly what to do. It's all good. I know how to chop these videos up, make tidbits, make 1 minute videos for Instagram. I knew none of this last year. Okay. But I kept going because I believe this is my assignment. This is what I'm supposed to do. And so as you get stuck, don't think, oh, it's not for me because I don't know what to do. Just move forward, seek out the information, research, and as long as you are consistently taking action, doors will open, information will be given to you. The right people at the right time will come into your life. I'm shaking my head because I still can't believe some of the people that I have met at times when I needed information or before I knew I needed that information. And then here comes this person. And then I get to a point and it's like, oh my gosh, like they're here. They are exactly who I needed. Oh, thank you so much. You're very confident and informed now. Yes, I am. It is a process. And that is going to take us to our next point. I have a couple here, but I'm going to go into how it evolves. And thank you so much, Cynthia, for saying that. I appreciate you. Um, Confident and informed now because it is a process that takes progress over time. That's what a process is. And this leads me into my next point. Progress, not perfection, right? Some of us think that when we have a big idea, that we're just supposed to come right out of the box and it's going to be great and amazing. And that's just it. And we don't understand that what we want is progress. Things will never be perfect. Now, can something improve? Absolutely. You know, when I wrote my first book, excuse me, a little twitch on my nose. When I wrote my first book, A Life Ignited, Ignite Your Inner Fuse, I was getting caught up in perfection. And I realized this book's never going to go out if every day I go back to it and change something. If every day I say, oh, this could have been better. Oh, wait, I need to add. Oh, wait, let me take away. Well, maybe that was too much. Maybe that wasn't not enough. I was doing that every single day, right? Because I was looking for perfection. If I were striving for perfection, which is a fallacy which never happens, then that means that the thing that I've been called to do will never happen. So what I had to do was put the book out. Once I put the book out, I realized I did want to add some things to it. So I went back to it and I created a second edition and I added more inspirational quotes and sayings, and I added my own quotes to various parts of the book. But if I just sat there with it over and over again, thinking it's not perfect, wait, it's not great, it's not as good as this other thing I read, I wouldn't have two books now, right? Well, the first edition of A Life Ignited, second edition. And then recently I published a book with 9 other authors called Women Leaders with Inspiring Stories. And again, it's about progress. So don't let wanting to be so perfect keep you from taking the massive action you need to take. It's okay to take sloppy action, right? Now let me say this because this is very important. I believe in doing things in decency and order and being excellent in every move you make. But also recognize that excellence is variable. Excellence isn't one standard. And let me tell you what I mean by that. If I find out that I'm sick or that I need a surgery or something bad happened in my family, the level of excellence I bring that day to these live videos, to my work, to my team is going to be very different from the level of excellence I bring when all is good in the world, when I'm standing on the top of that mountain and the view looks good. That level of excellence is going to be very different from your coworker's level of excellence when they find out that, my God, they found out a coworker, I'm sorry, or a family member had cancer. So you need to understand that sometimes something that may appear to be sloppy may be the best you could do at that time. And it's okay. So I'm going to say that again because you need to hear it. Excellence is variable. because my level of excellence I can give you on a great day when all is well. I got money in the bank. The hubs was wonderful. The kids are straight A's. Life is good. We're on our way to one of these places I want to go. Is Greece. I can't wait to get to Greece. And I want Santorini to be specific. And I want to do all these great things, right? My level of excellence on that day is going to be like, woo, phenomenal because I feel good. But on a day that I don't feel good, things are happening in my life. I just found out someone's sick, or I found out I have a sickness and now I have to get a procedure done. My level of excellence is going to be different. But if it's the best I could give, giving the circumstance, then it was excellent, period. So don't think that, oh, I don't know if this is good enough. If it was the best you could give that day, then it was excellent and it was fantastic and it was enough. Okay. And I say that because sometimes we get so caught up in our resources. Well, I don't have this, I don't have that. I tell my clients, make your next best move. What is it? With what you have, how much money you have, the time you have, the resources, the energy, the gifts and talents, and the knowledge you have today, what is the next best thing you can do? And if you do that, you've had an excellent day and you need to celebrate. And as you get more time, as you get more resources, as you get more money, then you can up your level of excellence and do things at that level. But don't discount what you do here. And don't let anyone make you think that because they can operate here, because they had $20,000 to spend on an ad or on a campaign, and you only had $300 or $400 to spend on some Vistaprint postcards. Don't feel like you're less. You're working in excellence where you are, and that is good enough. Okay. So, progress, not perfection. Something else. Let's see. We'll take one more thing here, and then you feel free. Feel free to hop into the comments. And if you can, if you're not driving or busy and you're actually safely can type, tell me what's something that when you have a big idea and you take massive action, what's something that typically has tried to deter you that you said, no, no, listen, you're not going to stop my growth today. You're not going to, stop my progress. Okay. Oh, wait, we've got a comment. Good point. Good and not so good days vary, so we adjust according. Absolutely. But you show up great in those days, and great's going to look different day to day. And that's okay. Because as long as you're showing up, okay, it's all good. So our next point here is I'm going to say small steps, right? Sometimes, and I'm going to make this our last point here. No, I'm not, because I want to say a couple more things. But small steps every day. So consistent small steps, okay, every day. Sometimes we look at the big thing. So this is the idea. All the way out there is the thing we want to accomplish. And just that range is scary all by itself. Like, forget self-sabotage and all that. Just the range of here's the idea. And the thing that would finally be complete is over there, right? So now we're just like, oh my gosh, like this is too much and it's impossible. So don't look at the big space, right? Look at what you can do every day and chip that thing into pieces. If you work for corporate America, you do it every day. And someone else has outlined the chipping of the pieces. But every day you go to work, you're working in a bigger machine, in a bigger operation that has chipped and cut and managed pieces into bite-sized parts that, can be managed. And what you're doing is your piece of that. And in many ways, you have long-term projects. And every week you're working on portions of that project that ultimately lead to a bigger company objective or a bigger goal accomplished. You can do it every day for a boss. You can do it for yourself as well. And so what you do is you don't, again, if you want to lose 20 pounds, don't, oh my God, that's so much to lose. And then when you step on the scale and you see 1 pound loss, you want to give up, right? Oh, I did all this work and only lost 1 pound. Okay. You're supposed to be doing all this work, right? Show up consistently every day. Make adjustments. Adjust accordingly, as Cynthia said, and keep going. And eventually you'll add another pound to that 1, and then it's 2. You'll add another pound to that one, and it's 3. 2 pounds, and that's 5, right? Progress, consistency, small steps every day, right? So 1 pound's a great thing. And that leads me into my next point. Celebrate it. Oh, baby, I lost 1 pound. Oh, yes. I made one step. Oh, yes. I wrote one page. Oh, yes. I came up with a title. Oh, yes. Right? Oh, yes. I did my first live. Oh, yes. I did my first Periscope video. Okay. So it's not, oh, they have 1,000 of them. Whoever they is that you're comparing yourself to, they had to do their first one. Do you think their first one looked like their 500th one? Do you think their first one looked like their 1,000th one? The new coach who's now world known, do you think their first coaching client relationship looks like their millionth coaching client relationship? What about their website? Do you think Tony Robbins, his first website, looked like the one he has now? Oprah, did her first show look like her last show? See what I'm saying here? It's a process, right? So don't get caught up in, ooh, look at them. Look what they've got. They started, and their start looked just like yours. Jeff Bezos, who's the founder of, oh my gosh, Amazon, he said everything he did started small. When he started Amazon, he had 2 or 3 people in a little storefront. Can you imagine Amazon? Small. He talks about other companies he started. 1 or 2 people, no money, small. Big idea, massive action, impact to the world, nothing he could have ever dreamed, nothing he could have ever imagined. And just imagine if you stepped fully into, I'm going to go in this direction, and I don't care what it looks like in the beginning, I'm going to keep going. And every person, I guarantee every person that you admire, go look them up on Wiki. Go look them up and do a search and see where they started and what it looked like. Put in old photos of and go look at that person just 10 years ago. Doesn't look like how they look today. What would it look like for you if you stepped fully into your big idea and you took massive action every day with progress, not perfection in mind, believing you could do it, congratulating yourself along the way, and focusing on the end results in terms of who will be impacted by your diligence and your obedience to your divine assignment? Man, it's got me smiling. Just imagine. So, the last point I wanted to make, and I kind of just said a little bit about it, but I want you to congratulate and celebrate yourself every step of the way. Even if nobody thinks what you did is worthy to celebrate, you celebrate yourself. I know last year I wasn't very consistent with my newsletters, my online newsletters. And I said, this year I have to be more consistent. I'm showing up more consistent in that way. And since the beginning of the year, every week I have sent out a newsletter, a very good newsletter. If you are not part of that online community through my newsletter, absolutely subscribe. I will share a link in this chat at the end or in the comments of this video. So click on that link and make sure you sign up for Ignited News. Okay. You're going to get some good stuff every week. So in the beginning of the year, I'm like, okay, I'm going to send out my first one. And I believe it went out on New Year's, if not, maybe the next day. And I got some feedback from someone that said, well, this was so awesome. I got your newsletter. And I'm going to take that back, right? Because I'm going to show you how these points work in my life as well. I actually shared with someone that I had started sending out the newsletter, and I forwarded it to someone, excited, celebrating that, hey, I did this and this was good. I've taken action and I begin to execute on the big idea. So, that person's comments were, well, you should do more marketing, you should do this, and you should do that. And I said, you're absolutely right. But here's what I'm celebrating. that I actually took action and I did it, right? It will get better. Messages will get more in depth. But right now, I made progress. I'm not looking for perfection. I'm not looking at the first one's not going to look like the fifth one. The fifth one's not going to look like the 30th one. The 30th one isn't going to look like one I send 10 years from now when I have staff sending them out for me. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, you have to celebrate yourself. And you know that someone else who may be somewhere else in their business may look and say, well, man, you should be doing this and that. No, no, no. At this moment, in this point in time, I should be taking my next best move and my next best step. And I did that. And now celebrate it, recognize it. And even when you share it and other people think it was nothing to celebrate, that's fine, because they don't know what's in you and they don't know how hard you had to work just to do that piece, to step up to the plate and say, I'm going to execute this very thing I said I was going to do. I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to drown out noise. I'm not going to let anything stand in my way. I don't care if I have to stay up to 2, 3 in the morning to get this thing done. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it in excellence, which means that with what I have at that moment, I'm going to give it everything I've got. Don't let anybody take that away from you. Baby steps are better than no steps. Thank you for that, Cynthia. Absolutely. Cynthia's trying to take my job, everybody. Cynthia's trying to take my job. Baby steps are better than no steps because it is progress. And celebrate yourself. And think about a baby when they start crawling. We're like, oh my God, they're crawling, right? And then they stand up, and they're like scaling across a table or the chair. You're like, oh my God, they're standing up. Oh my God, right? And when they walk, we go bananas. Oh my God, they're walking, right? It's a major milestone. And they're not walking great, right? They're little monsters, right? But we are so excited that they did that. And that's how I want you to treat yourself. Recognize when you've done something amazing for yourself. Excuse me here. Let's just turn that off, right? Recognize when you've done something amazing. And it doesn't have to be amazing based on someone else's idea or notion of what greatness should be. It's all based on what you gave it. Okay. So celebrate yourself. So, how do you take big ideas and turn them into massive steps so that you can manifest more and make more things happen in your life? Well, okay, the first thing is you need to believe. Believe that you can do it. Okay. Small steps every day, which means action. Take action, execute, right? How do you execute? You execute in excellence. In excellence, how? With what you have, where you are, the resources you have, what you know, what you can do. Okay. Don't look around at what everybody else had. What can you do in the moment? My very first speaking engagement came from postcards. Okay, I didn't have money for Facebook ads. I didn't have money for all these other things. I didn't have a network. So you know what? I went online and I looked up training needs training, and I put in my location. And then guess what? I got some people who said they need trainers, and I sent emails and postcards, and I got callbacks. And one of those callbacks ended up being a contract for a year. Okay, so use what you have, right? This is your divine assignment. Doors will open up as you need them opened up to you. As you are ready, doors will open up to you. You will not know where. How did this happen? I was on the stage last year with Remy Ma and someone from CNN, and she was Grammy nominated, and she's been on TV. And then there was this other woman from Google. How'd I get here? Right? I got here because I'm on divine assignment, and God will place the people in your life and the opportunities in your life, but you have to show up and believe that they are for you. Take small steps every day, get better, get bolder. You got to get courageous on this journey you're on. Okay. Progress, not perfection. Celebrate yourself. Okay. If you have to sit here with your tea or your champagne all by yourself, honey, celebrate. You know what I do when I do like technical things, and I know it was a lot of work to do. And no one who's not tech savvy, no one will appreciate it, right? So in many ways, I always have to like celebrate myself, because I'm trying to tell my husband, like, look what I did. And he's like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And so I have to celebrate myself many times. The way I celebrate myself is I go to my favorite Thai restaurant. And when I walk in, she knows exactly what I'm ordering, like I probably do today. And that's how I celebrate. And then I bask in the fact that I did all this. I remind myself how amazing I am, that I can conquer these challenges, that I'm going to have what I need when I need it. So I just need to keep going. And I just have this moment to myself to speak life to myself, to congratulate myself, right? And then I move forward, knowing that this power in me, man, it cannot be contained. It's going to push me and pull me and sustain me and elevate me and keep me. And I'm good with that. Okay. And the last thing I want you to remember is I want you to pace yourself. This journey you're on, it is not a marathon, people. You have to pace yourself. A lot of times when you have big ideas, even with weight loss, I'm going to lose this weight. And then you just have this epiphany and you go hard and you burn out fast, right? Pace yourself. You want sustainable results. You want results that come over time, that you sustain for the rest of your life. Pace yourself because it's in the learning is in the pacing, right? You don't learn anything when you go pew. Think about a test you cram for. You cram for the test and you might pass it, but 2 weeks later, if I ask you what the Act of 1789 was, or I'm thinking of my son's AP government class, or I ask you, which president was responsible for, workforce reform, you can't remember a thing because you just crammed and you did just enough to be successful for 5 seconds. I don't want to be successful for 5 seconds. I want to be successful every day, all day. I want it to be a lifestyle, not just some mad dash. And I had success for 5 seconds, right? Because that's frustrating. Doing all that work and having it for 5 seconds, but not learning how to pace yourself to really enjoy the process and to learn and to have lessons stick and to give yourself an opportunity to grow through the process so that you can sustain it. Now, I don't want no fast success, right? I don't want that. Pyong, I lost 10 pounds, but I gained 20 because as I lost the 10, I didn't know how to sustain it or what really to do to manage it or how to change my lifestyle, right? To really own the results, right? You didn't own them. You kind of rent it. That's it. When you go fast, you kind of rent the result. I don't want to rent the result. I want to pace myself. I want to learn. I want to grow so that I can then sustain the results, sustain the fulfillment, and sustain the happiness that comes from achieving that goal. Okay, so thank you guys so much. Thank you, Cynthia, for participating and being a fun viewer and active participant here. I appreciate you. You know that. Thank you so much for being here. Until next week, you guys, continue to be a life ignited. Continue to stand in your power. Own your truth. Own your greatness. Do not talk yourself out of your big ideas. Move forward in strength. Be authentic and know that what is for you is for you, and that everything you need will be given to you along the way. Trust, believe, have faith, and be fearless. Until next time, be a life ignited. I'll see you next week. Bye.